You're watching a Highwire Media podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Big D Breakdown, where we break down all the latest news, rumors, and headlines coming from AT&T Stadium. As always, I'm your host, Larry Lease. And of course, after everything we've talked about, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. And with that, let's dive into today's first topic. While the Dallas Cowboys 2024 season has been over for more than a month now, the campaign as a whole officially came to an end on Sunday night as the Philadelphia Eagles destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, stopping Kansas City from becoming the first team ever to hoist the Lombardi Trophy 3 years in a row. As such, all 32 teams can now turn their attention to the 2025 season, as can NFL odds makers who wasted no time releasing way too early odds on who will win Super Bowl 60 next February at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, home of the San Francisco 49ers. The odds we mention, of course, will change countless times over the next few months once the dust settles following the free agency period and the 2025 NFL Draft. And make no mistake about it, the grind that is the NFL offseason will undoubtedly be an interesting time for the Cowboys, who are easily one of the biggest disappointments of this past season, going 7-10 and failing to make the playoffs for the first time in 4 years, a finish that ultimately cost Mike McCarthy his job. We won't rehash all the things that went wrong for Dallas in 2024 because, quite frankly, there are simply far too many to get into. So it goes without saying that Jerry Jones and new head coach Brian Schottenheimer have their work cut out for them as they attempt to improve this team enough to once again become competitive. But like many critics of America's team, or even many fans for that matter, odds makers aren't confident that will happen. It should come as no surprise that the newly crowned champion Eagles are the early favorites to win Super Bowl 60 at plus 550. Nor is it a shock to see the Chiefs tied for second place on the board at plus 700 after making 5 appearances in the title game in the last 6 seasons. For the Cowboys, they don't even rank in the top half among all 32 teams, ranking 17th overall at plus 6,000. Furthermore, Dallas didn't even crack the top half among the 16 NFC franchises, coming in 10th behind the Eagles at plus 600, Detroit Lions at plus 900, 49ers at plus 1,500, Commanders at 1,900, Packers also at 1,900, Rams at 2,800, Buccaneers at 3,500, Vikings at plus 4,000, Chicago Bears also at plus 4,000. So to recap, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at plus 550, Chiefs at plus 700, the Bills at 700, the Ravens also at 700, Detroit Lions at plus 900, the 49ers at plus 1,500, Bengals at plus 1,800, Washington Commanders at plus 1,900, with the Packers right behind them at plus 1,900, and the Rams and the Chargers both at 2,800, Texans at plus 3,000, Buccaneers at plus 3,500, along with the Broncos at 3,500, Vikings and the Bears at plus 4,000, Cowboys at plus 6,000, and then we have the Seahawks, Steelers, Dolphins, Falcons, all at plus 6,500, Cardinals at plus 7,000, the New England Patriots at plus 8,000, and the Jaguars plus 10,000, Raiders and Colts at 11,000, Panthers at plus 13,000, Jets and Saints at plus 15,000, Giants at 18,000, Titans at 20,000, and at the end, at the bottom, the Cleveland Browns, at plus 20,000. I will say I'm a little surprised to see the Seahawks below the Cowboys and the Steelers, but yeah, my guess is Eagles return and the Lions. I think the Chiefs won't make it because I'm predicting that Travis Kelce does retire. Andy Reid retires. So the city is out looking for a new coach again. That's just my guess for right now. But let me know your thoughts and who you predict to enter Super Bowl 60 next season. And yes, I know it's all early. Hey, Cowboys Nation, if you bleed navy and silver, it's time to step up your fan game with Fanatics, the ultimate destination for officially licensed Dallas Cowboys merch. Now I'm talking everything timeless jerseys of legends like Emmitt Smith and Tony Romo, to the latest threads for stars like Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons. But that's not all. You want hoodies? They've got them. Perfect for those chilly Sunday tailgates at AT&T Stadium. Looking for hats, collectibles, or even custom jerseys with your own name and number? Fanatics has you covered with a massive selection you won't find anywhere else. Because real fans don't just show up on game day, they live Cowboys football all week long. When you're in the stands or streaming from home, make sure you're sporting the freshest gear on the planet. Head on over to Fanatics, link in the description, stock up on all your Cowboys essentials. Trust me, once you gear up at Fanatics, you'll be turning heads wherever you go. Because here in Cowboys Nation, we don't just watch the game, we own it. Fanatics, where sports fans shop. And now back to the rest of the Dallas Cowboy headlines. And now, onto some bigger unofficial Cowboy news regarding Kellen Moore, which is putting Brian Schottenheimer under massive pressure with the Dallas Cowboys. It's wishful thinking that the Philadelphia Eagles' Super Bowl victory will light a fire under the Dallas Cowboys to alter their outdated approach of roster building. If nothing else, it should incentivize the front office to be a little more aggressive in free agency. In the meantime, Cowboy fans will be hoping that Nick Sirianni's roster and coaching staff are pillaged this offseason. The Eagles have most of their locked up. They have several important players set to hit free agency next month. Roster turnover is a given for most teams, especially Super Bowl winners, and the Cowboys sorely need Philly to endure some losses during the March frenzy. Well, the Eagles' offseason is only 2 days old, and they've already lost a huge piece. According to multiple reports, offensive coordinator Kellen Moore is finalizing a deal to become the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Sirianni made a last-ditch attempt to keep Moore from leaving while confetti was still raining down from the rafters at Caesars Superdome. Despite Sirianni's efforts, the writing had been on the wall for Moore to take the Saints' job. It felt inevitable once Mike McCarthy pulled himself out of the running, and after Moore's offense made NFL history with 55 points in the NFC title game. The Saints zeroed in on Moore after that showing, and Moore parlayed that by outclassing all-time great defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo in the Super Bowl. Moore won't have it easy in the Big Easy due to the Saints' ghastly cap situation, but regardless, this news puts immense pressure on Brian Schottenheimer in year one with the Cowboys. It's well documented that Moore was in contention for the Dallas job. He seemed like the overwhelming favorite early on in the interview process before Schottenheimer swept the front office off its feet in his first interview. If Moore leads the Saints to immediate success with a mediocre quarterback while navigating the worst cap situation in football, right or wrong, the attention will shift to Schottenheimer. Moore is fresh off a historic playoff run with the Eagles in terms of scoring output. Schottenheimer doesn't have that track record as a play caller, but he arguably has better head coaching intangibles as far as leadership and connecting with players, and has surrounded himself with an objectively exciting staff. It seems that Moore was Schotty's only competition for the Cowboys job. Now that Moore has landed with the Saints, it will be impossible not to compare and contrast the two first-time head coaches. Because that's what has to happen, right? How else will we know if the Cowboys made the right decision? Let me know your thoughts on Kellen Moore becoming the Saints head coach. And now on to our next topic. The Cowboys' first free agency splash is painfully obvious after the Eagles' Super Bowl win. Sunday could not have gone worse for the Dallas Cowboys as the Eagles literally demolished the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59 en route to a 40-22 victory. It's the Eagles' second Super Bowl championship in 8 years. Jalen Hurts deservedly took home MVP honors after a near-flawless game under center. Hurts accounted for 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing, and nearly 300 total yards. He led the team with 72 rushing yards as the Chiefs held Saquon Barkley in check. Hurts was the best quarterback on the field and is a worthy Super Bowl MVP. But the game was not decided by the Eagles' talent-studded offense. The Cowboys need to replicate Philadelphia's winning blueprint this offseason, or at least part of it. They have any hope of making a deep playoff run in 2025. One move in particular is screaming to be made after watching Sunday's beatdown. While Hurts was excellent, the game was decided in the trenches by the Eagles' 4-man rush, starring Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Jalen Carter, and Nolan Smith. Sweat alone registered 7 pressures and 2 sacks. Williams had 4 pressures, 2 sacks, and created the strip sack of Mahomes in the fourth quarter that put the exclamation point on Philly's all-time defensive showing. They completely wrecked the game, but Smith consistently won his matchups, while Carter commanded double teams throughout. The Eagles pressured Mahomes on 53.3% of his dropbacks, sans garbage time per PFF. That is the second highest pressure rate of Mahomes' career. In total, Mahomes was pressured 30 times and sacked 7 times. It was the highest sack rate of Mahomes' career. On top of Mahomes not having time to process anything, nobody was open because Philly dropped 7 into coverage since their 4-man rush feasted. The key behind making seemingly immortal quarterbacks look mortal is generating pressure with a 4-man front. The Cowboys obviously won't be able to build the Eagles' defensive line overnight. However, re-signing Oso gives them the best chance to maximize their pass rush in 2025 and beyond. He was one of the most disruptive interior defenders in football this past season, as far as getting after the quarterback. Only 2 defensive tackles registered more pressures in 2024 than Odoezi's 60 per PFF. The same can be said for his 13 quarterback hits, and he ranked second among interior defenders with a 15.1 pass rush win rate. It stands to reason that he can reach another level if he's paired with a quality nose tackle. While 2023 first-round pick Mazi Smith showed some promise in year 2, Cowboy fans threw a party anytime he executed the fundamentals of the one-tech position. Smith is not going anywhere, but that shouldn't stop the front office from searching for an upgrade, whether it be in free agency or the draft. Micah Parsons is obviously a game wrecker, and Dallas would do well to pair him with a quality sidekick in the draft. However, the number one priority this offseason has to be retaining Odoezi and signing or drafting another defensive tackle. Williams and Carter were unstoppable all year and made life easier on Sweat and Smith, who combined at just 14.5 sacks during the regular season. It starts and ends in the trenches, and that's where the Cowboys' focus should be this offseason. And now, on to our next topic. The Cowboys have put an exclamation point on their home run coaching staff with their final major hire. How are the vibes surrounding the Dallas Cowboys right now? Well, that depends on who you ask. Some might say the vibes are terrible after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and following a report that alleged Dallas is considering trading Micah Parsons, others might have a bullish outlook on 2025 following Brian Schottenheimer's impressive string of coaching hires. Klayton Adams brings a ton of excitement as the new offensive coordinator, while new defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, returns to Dallas with a proven track record coordinating defenses and developing players. There is also a palpable buzz behind the hirings of Aaron Whitecotton and Conor Riley as defensive line coach and offensive line coach respectively, as well as running backs coach Derrick Foster. Hiring an experienced coach like Ken Dorsey is another savvy move. Well, how about one more for good measure? Per Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, the Cowboys have hired Oregon co-offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach Junior Adams as their wide receivers coach. Schottenheimer is putting together a squad of offensive coaches. One of the top young receiver coaches in the country, Adams, has recruited and developed former Offensive Player of the Year Cooper Kupp, 2024 first-round pick Rome O, and 2024 third-round pick Jalen McMillan, who caught 8 touchdowns as a rookie. Jory Epstein of Yahoo Sports mentioned Ram stars Puka as another receiver who regards Adams as a mentor and key influence. The Rams star burst onto the scene as a 5th-round pick last year, catching 105 passes for almost 1,500 yards and 6 scores. He was on a similar pace this past season, but a knee injury cost him 6 games. Just 23 years old, Puka is already knocking on the door of being a top 10 receiver in the league. Oregon ranked 9th, 2nd, and 17th in total offense under Adams' tutelage. He produced 2 1,000-yard receivers in 2022 in Tez Johnson and Troy Franklin. Franklin was drafted last year, but Johnson is a rising draft prospect in the 2025 class after a dominant Senior Bowl. The Cowboys happen to have a glaring need for a number 2 receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb. Might they target Adams' former star in the 2nd or 3rd round? Can't rule it out. Adams is now Schottenheimer's second assistant who is making the jump to the NFL. The other is offensive line coach Conor Riley, who previously won 5 national champions in North Dakota State before bolstering his resume in Manhattan with Kansas State. Time will tell how Schotty's hires pan out, but it is exciting nonetheless that he is seeking out college blood and meshing them with proven and rising NFL commodities for his first ever staff. And now on to our next topic. The Cowboys reportedly make another genius hire that greatly benefits Dak Prescott. Dallas Cowboy fans are currently reckoning with the Philadelphia Eagles being Super Bowl champions for the second time in a decade. But the show in North Texas must go on. The most recent Cowboys buzz predictably dropped right before the Super Bowl when NFL Network reported that the team has internally discussed trading Micah Parsons this offseason instead of paying him a premium contract. That rumor is complete and utter nonsense. However, CeeDee Lamb made sure to shut down the Parsons trade talk in response to the report. There has otherwise been no drama brewing in Dallas. In fact, the discourse has shifted to one of positivity as Brian Schottenheimer has hit home run after home run assembling his staff as a first-time head coach. The early returns on the Schottenheimer era have been highly encouraging, and that took another step following the Cowboys' most recent reported hire. According to Mike Garafolo of NFL Network, the Cowboys are working to hire former Browns and Bills offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. Ian Rappaport has confirmed the news. Dorsey's role is still being finalized, but it sounds like there is a verbal agreement for Dorsey to join Schottenheimer's staff. The Cowboys previously interviewed Dorsey for their offensive coordinator vacancy, considering Dorsey was fired in back-to-back years by Buffalo and Cleveland after serving as their OC. That scared the living daylights out of Dallas fans. However, the team took the prudent approach and hired Cardinals offensive line coach Klayton Adams as OC. That move has received universal praise, and so should the team's hiring of Dorsey, even though his role is not confirmed. Schottenheimer has filled most of the prominent roles on his staff, but the quarterback's coach remains vacant, as it was reported that former quarterback coach Scott Tolzien wouldn't be back. He joined the Cowboys as an assistant in 2020 and made the leap to quarterback's coach in 2023. He is one of several Mike McCarthy assistants who were not retained. Dorsey replacing Tolzien as quarterback's coach would be a savvy move. Dorsey oversaw Cam Newton's best years with the Panthers, including Newton's MVP winning season when he took Carolina to the Super Bowl. Dorsey also oversaw the development of Josh Allen in Buffalo, serving as the Bills quarterback coach from 2019 to 2021 before becoming offensive coordinator in 2022. The entire Buffalo staff deserves credit for molding Allen into a superstar, but it's no coincidence that both quarterbacks that Dorsey coached have taken home MVP awards. That's not to say Dak Prescott will become an MVP under Dorsey's watch. Dorsey's track record with gunslingers is fantastic news for the Cowboys franchise quarterback. Let me know your thoughts on the topics we've covered in the comment section below. And of course, give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell notification button to be notified of future videos. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thebigd. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you next week.